Welcome to Insights in Business. I'm Ruth Snyder. I'm the Executive Director for the Campbell River and District Chamber of Commerce, and we are coming to you here from Shaw Spotlight Studios on Rob Ron Road in Campbell River. Our very special guest today is Rose Klukas, who is the Economic Development Officer for the City of Campbell River. Rose, thank you so much for making time for us, because I know that over the last 2 years, it's been hard to pin you down.
Well, Mary Ruth, it's actually really nice to see you in person.
It is,
Yeah.
And we're so happy to be back in the studio. Oh my God. Now, you already had an extremely full plate. Actually, before we get into how full your plate is, let's talk a little bit about you. Where were you born and raised?
I was actually born in Kitimat in northwestern BC. Mm-hmm. And my family, actually I still have family that lives there. So I was born and raised there.
Okay. Yeah. And did you do all of your schooling in Kitimat and then go away for university? How did that work?
Yeah, what is very similar to a lot of small towns, that's what you have to do. So I graduated from high school in Kitimat, and then there is a community college, and I did participate in programming there as well as in Vancouver. Yeah.
And what did you do your post-secondary education in?
Yeah, so in those days, economic development was not as common of a field in municipal government, so you usually would start in business development or a related business program, which is what I did. And but I was part of a municipality that adopted economic development within its structure fairly early, actually before it was common in local government. So I have had early exposure to economic development in my career. But today you would probably go right into an economic development training program or degree.
Okay. And did you continue to do post-secondary even after you got into your work?
Well, of course, being part of local government, you continuously do professional development.
Okay.
And I've also had the opportunity to get my economic development designation through Waterloo and the Economic Development Association of Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so how many years have you now been solely in the economic development field?
I wonder if that's like asking me how old I am.
No.
So as I mentioned, I have almost my whole career done economic development because it was a part of our local government fairly early on. I did take some time off and raise my family as well, and came right back into the field. So quite a few years, more than 10 years.
Okay. Now, was there any particular aspect of growing up in Kitimat that those experiences kind of informed your day-to-day as you got into the ECDev field?
Yeah, that's a good question. For sure, looking back at my time in Kitimat, and prior to coming to Campbell River, I was the Director of Economic Development in Kitimat. That time there was largely focused on industrial development, which formed most of the economy there. Mm-hmm. And I think it was an interesting, kind of reflecting on my time there and coming to this community here. Economic development was a new in-house function for the city of Campbell River when I was hired in 2016. Okay. So I had a bit of a blank slate to create a direction for the department. And I, rather than fully concentrating on industry, I started by getting out to meet the local businesses and establish that relationship and work on growing our small business, our entrepreneurs here in Campbell River.
Okay. Yeah. What is it that you remember most about your early years in Kitimat? Kind of like in grade school, high school, what was it about that kind of led you on this path that it unfolded for you?
Well, I think sometimes life just is the is the journey, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
I don't think I actually, if I look back, I probably thought I was going to be a teacher.
Okay.
So it was not really the path I was planning to go on. But I also loved business, and so that naturally added itself to the business development training. But if I look back at Kitimat, it was a town that didn't exist until 1950s, and was built around a major industry.
Right.
And
That was the Alcan plant,
yeah,
right?
at that point it was called Alcan Aluminum Company. So at that time, the province invited the company into the valley there to create this industry because of hydroelectricity abilities
Right.
in the area. And so if I look back at that town being grown almost from nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting to kind of take the learnings from there and translate it into the work that I'm doing today as well. So industry is an important component of an economy. There's no question. It supports tax bases. It provides a lot of revenue for governments to create programming for people. And but our small business community is adds the atmosphere to a town.
Absolutely, yes. Now, this was something that was very surprising to me during the first, I guess it would be almost 3 years ago now, when I attended my first Forestry Week event at the museum. And I believe it was Domenico who from Mosaic, who made a presentation and talked about forestry as an industry. And I was quite surprised to learn that only 7% of the city of Campbell River, actually 7% of the GDP is from forestry.
That number, 7% of people in Campbell River are employed in forestry. So that's actually a high number. The BC number is about 3.5%. So we have double the number of people employed in forestry in Campbell River than across BC.
That was still shocking to me that it was still such a low number.
And 7%, I don't have the exact number, but I'm going to say is around 1,200 jobs.
Okay.
So it's a fairly significant number of jobs and double the provincial average.
Okay.
So, and the other thing people need to remember is that for every industrial job created, there's typically 3 spin-off jobs in the community.
Right.
So forestry also allows the small businesses to exist, or aquaculture, or any large industry.
Well, just yesterday, because in my role with the Chamber, I'm part of the Mid-Island Forest Lands Advisory Group. And so just yesterday we went on a tour, and we went right up to the top. We were up above 1,000 meters. Wow. Looking at a new cut block that they were working on. And I learned so much in that tour that I did not know. First of all, this island is way bigger than most people think.
That is very true.
Right? Because our population is literally, if you look at the map, we're a sliver along the eastern border. And there's a little blip over here on the west coast, but it's a sliver. And then there's nothing but mountains and trees and lakes and rivers in between and the rest of the island. And it's huge.
We have a huge island. There is no question it's bigger than some countries. And the other thing we have, and it's really diverse, right?
Very.
And so, we work a lot with our regional partners in economic development, because if we're strong as a region, we're strong in each of our communities as well. And we each have those different attributes that will attract different businesses to our communities.
Now, in your role over the last, how many years have you been with the city now?
6.
6? I was going to say 5. See, I've lost a year because of the pandemic. So in that 6 years, you have had to almost juggle the balance between the continuation of all of the industry and support of that, but you've had to balance it out with development of entrepreneur work and small business and mid-sized business. How did you get your head around managing that balance in the early years?
I mean, I think it is fortunate that I do have a long history in economic development, and I was able to prioritize where to put my time in the beginning when I was alone in economic development. I have two people that, Leah and Rebecca, that are, I couldn't do it without them.
Right.
And so I prioritized my work in those early days because, yes, you want a diverse economy. You need all the components of the economy to be healthy and ride out the events of the globe that we have no control over.
Right.
Price of oil, pandemics, global supply chains. And the more diverse your local economy is, the easier it is for them to ride it out. So now I'm really fortunate we are able to separate the work and have some concentration on small business, and then pay some more attention to larger industry or light industrial development. And the other important work that we do is, well, answering inquiries, and more than ever, we have people who are interested in Campbell River.
Right.
So answering inquiries and providing good information. It's a big part of our job as well.
Okay.
And we spend quite a bit of time on that.
Now, you have almost like a sub-organization called Tech Hatchery that you've created with the Campbell River Angel Advisory Group. So tell us a little bit about that and how that works. And you're in the middle of a competition right now. So
yes.
Just give us the whole picture.
Yes. So early on in my tenure here in Campbell River, I also realized that growing a tech sector and innovation sector is really important. And the reality is, every business today is tech and innovation.
Correct.
You know, I think gone are the days where that is, making video games in your basement, which it still is as well. In fact, probably more than ever. But every business needs innovation and technology to stay, including our large industries like forestry and aquaculture. And so our council of the day had already made an investment in municipal broadband fiber because we recognized that offering that was an important incentive for growth in business.
Right.
And one of the things we do in economic development is we say hello to a lot of people and make connections. And so I think it was probably 2018, we connected with a group of people who were really interested in giving back to Campbell River. They all have some connection to Campbell River. They all have a background in high tech. And so one of the things that they came and said to me is that they'd like to help me grow the tech and innovation sector, and we're going to have a contest.
Awesome.
And that's where Next Stream Tech Challenges came. And yeah, we're actually next week in the finale. So next week people can connect via Zoom and watch pitching.
And this is the third round.
This is the third round.
Okay.
The first round, we were really flying by the seat of our pants, but we made it happen. We actually had, I think in that first year, in pulling together this contest in a very short order, we had, I think, 35 or 36 applicants from all over the world.
Yeah.
And last year we had up to 65 and close to that again this year. And so we're really looking forward to the pitch sessions next Tuesday, where each team will be given 7 minutes to pitch their idea. So very much a Dragon's Den style pitching thing. And it is really interesting. People should tune in. We'll also make it available afterwards.
Okay.
Because
but
you can
people
see
can watch live.
They can watch live.
Okay, we'll put the Zoom link up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Watch live and listen to people's ideas.
Yeah.
And I think we have 9 teams.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
It's really
so
interesting.
exciting to see this happening in Campbell River. Like there's so much.
Well, people
so much
innovate,
really interesting.
And during the pandemic, we saw innovation to address some of the issues that the pandemic brought to light.
Yes.
And so people are very creative.
Now, in addition to all of this past January, you had your plate added to. Not that you needed it added to, but it got added to. And now you're also overseeing the Campbell River Airport and all of the airport lands and all of the businesses that are there. So tell us how that came about.
Yeah, it's great. The city wanted to give a business development lens to the airport. There's so much opportunity there, and that's how it landed with economic development.
Okay.
And I think it's just really important. As hard as it is to believe, I think there are still people here that live here in Campbell River that may not know there is an airport, that they can actually fly to Vancouver every day from our Campbell River Airport. More than once a day.
Really?
And
See, I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Well, I knew there was an airport, and B, I knew there was flights, but I didn't know you could literally fly every single day to Vancouver. Which
more than
airline is
once
that?
a day.
More than once a
Yeah,
day.
we have a couple carriers that come into Campbell River, and you can actually, now I don't know the flight schedule today, but pre-pandemic, and we do have several flights a day now, but even pre-pandemic, I could take a flight in the morning and come back in the evening.
Wow.
And so, half an hour, I mean, you're almost 10 minutes everywhere in Campbell River to the airport.
Yeah.
And then half an hour you're at YVR. Yes.
Okay. See? New information. That's why I love doing these shows, because we are always ending up with
and
new
this is
information.
not new. This has been happening for many, many years.
But
so
it's almost been a secret.
Well, the secret's out. And so that's
Secret's
one
out,
of my
okay.
one of our jobs is that we definitely want that secret to be known, because there's so much opportunity to fly out of Campbell River.
Awesome.
And then yes, where there's lands up at the airport and there's opportunities to develop.
Now, are there now I know like Bill Alder, his company is up there. Like are there other companies that are kind of coming along?
There are lots of companies up at the airport. In fact, earlier this year, and we hope to do it again, we had a little bit of an open house at the airport in the terminal. Just as soon as we were able to kind of open it up to more people, we had an open house to talk about some projects that we have on the runway happening up there, just to give people an idea. But it is also an opportunity for people just to come up at the airport and see what's happening up there. So we have quite a few businesses up there across, a lot of aviation tech related businesses, for example, and of course traditional aviation businesses and helicopter businesses. And so if you haven't been up there, even just to drive around, go up and see your airport.
Now, when do you think you might have this other open house? In the summer, or are you going to in the fall?
Yeah, I don't know right now, but we do want to encourage the public to recognize that the airport exists. So we'll look for opportunities to bring people up there.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And we did actually have a fairly good turnout at that first open house. Yeah.
Now, which carriers do we have coming into the airport?
Yeah, we have several right now. We have Pacific Coastal and CMA. We have
what's CMA?
Central Mountain Air.
Oh, Central Mountain Air.
And we have a concierge type of a service through Cascadia Airlines.
Yeah.
And then we actually see quite a number of private planes land at the Campbell River Airport.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Now, does CMA, Central Mountain?
Yes.
Central Mountain. So would they be doing flights, like, say, from here to Kelowna, or like?
The flights from CMA from here are to Vancouver.
Oh, to Vancouver.
Yeah, and then you can make connections from Vancouver.
Okay. All right. That is amazing.
Yeah. Now we have in the summertime, or last summer, Pacific Coastal had other flights. They actually flew to Prince George from here.
Okay.
So people should look at the sites, because new routes are often added.
Okay. That's fantastic. You are watching Insights in Business, and we are coming to you from the Rob Ron Road Studios of Shaw. Our guest today, Rose Klukas, Economic Development Officer for the City of Campbell River. Now, the big tech event is coming up, and then what's after the pitch? What follows after the pitch?
So each of the teams will have an opportunity to demonstrate their prototype product to the Campbell River Area Angel Group. And through the pitching and through the demo days, the winners will be announced. And the winners will be announced June 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of all of the things you have going on, what's your favorite?
Oh no, that's a terrible question. One reason people choose a career in economic development is that you like variety. So I like all the things. I enjoy all the things. I have really enjoyed working with our small business community, the whole entrepreneurial journey through our modern entrepreneur suite of services, because that was fairly new for me when coming here to Campbell River. I mentioned before, my background was primarily industrial development. Yeah.
Now, the other big piece that is under your umbrella is tourism.
Yes.
And Destination Campbell River is a team of 4 consistently.
Yes.
5 for the summer, I think, 6 maybe,
with
the visitor center. And I don't think locally that there is an understanding of what an amazing job the Destination Campbell River team does.
Yeah.
So they, and because they don't toot their own horn, but they are recognized provincially, nationally, and internationally as one of the best tourism teams ever, and everybody's trying to emulate what they're doing. Over 20,000 followers on Instagram for a city of this size. That's unheard of.
Yeah, we have a great destination marketing organization that manages all of tourism here in Campbell River. And of course, we have a great opportunity here in Campbell River for tourists who want to come and visit.
Right.
Tourists, I mean, we do see people come from far, and we're definitely, through the pandemic, I think we've seen a lot of more local people come, or people in the region come to visit, or even in BC.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think is that if you are a person who hasn't been here for 10, 15, 20 years, the Campbell River today,
you wouldn't recognize
You may
it.
not recognize it. In fact, I had someone in my office who was here only 5 years ago and said they were shocked at the difference.
Oh.
So, and I think part of the difference is, again, we are seeing entrepreneurs invest in business development here in our community. So we have growing food businesses, restaurants, and opportunities in that way, and growing retail sector as well. So there's so much for people to come and see.
There
and
really
of
is.
course, I think our destination marketing organization says, you know, we are on the edge of wild. So we do sit at the doorstep of Strathcona Park.
Yes.
And of course, nature is all around us. So you have the amenities of a city, a great city, and you have the opportunity just to be immersed in nature very easily. And I think one thing we do well, and this is my opinion, you know, I lived on Tidewater my whole life virtually, but the access to the ocean here is second to none.
Yeah.
Whether you see it, whether you walk along it, whether you want to be on the water, you know, the ocean is prominent in Campbell River.
And you can be from downtown to Elk Falls Suspension Bridge in like 10 minutes.
Right,
Well,
and isn't that a great amenity, right?
It's incredible.
It is
for anybody
incredible.
who hasn't been, I highly recommend that. Now, the one problem we do have in Campbell River, though, is capacity for people to stay. So the new build at the golf course is going to help with that, but that's, you know, a year away from completion for the hotel. So
so we will see some hotel capacity being added to the market, and we hope that there will be more development happening. You know, we are a growing community. Our population growth is above our historical averages, and so I think we'll see more investment in that as well.
And the census that just finished in 2021, the reports have come out now. We're among the fastest growing on the island, are we not?
We are a fast growing community, and you know, all indications are that's going to continue.
Right.
I mean, I think it's, again, the secret is out. We're such a beautiful community, and of course we're situated geographically perfectly.
Yes.
And we're not a remote community, and I think that's the other thing people sometimes conjure up, that we're far away. Well, we're not far away. We're very close to Nanaimo, where you can take a BC ferry to the mainland.
Yep.
We have an airport that takes you to Vancouver. And of course, we have practically a highway that can take you south and north of here.
Well, and you know the funny thing, so I have family in Southern Ontario, and I was home visiting about 3 years ago, and they're, of course, used to the 401, which is like 16 lanes and hundreds of thousands of cars at any one time. So when I got home, I was driving between Comox Valley and Campbell River, and I literally was the only car
Yes. Yeah.
to be seen. And so I stopped and took a picture
Yeah.
and sent it to my brother. He's like, "Where is everybody?" I said, This is
how it is.
This is how it is most days.
Yeah. Well, and even that whole commuting thing is another really attractive part of Campbell River. So I'll
Yeah.
make you laugh that when we moved here, already the housing market was starting to tighten, and so we had to find our house is about 12 minutes from City Hall. And when I told my Lower Mainland family that I was a bit disappointed it was 12 minutes away, they looked at me like I was crazy.
What do you mean 12 minutes?
Yeah.
12 minutes flying?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
helicopter in?
Along
How
the
do you do
ocean
that?
with the beautiful scenery and a pod of whales going by.
Right. You know, yes, you're right. It is the most, Campbell River and the surrounding area just has, and we haven't even talked about the agricultural growth, thank
Right,
goodness, to
right.
help with the food security issues.
Right.
So that is something else that we're working on.
Absolutely, and again, the pandemic has highlighted this, the supply chain, and I think we've really realized what we can do closer to home.
Yeah.
Is the more we can do closer to home, the better.
Right. So what would you, we're drawing to the close of
Yeah.
this interview already. I know the time just goes by so fast. What would your advice be to any, well, I was going to say younger, but really any age, somebody can flip the switch now and do something totally different. That's one thing the pandemic taught us, is you can pivot, and it doesn't matter how old you are. You can pivot to something you have a passion for. So what would your advice to them if they're thinking about something?
Yeah, if you have an idea, I think that you want to share that idea. And we, in economic development, we're a safe place for people to come and share their ideas because the things that we talk about are always confidential. I know people are often concerned about proprietary information. And we do have some business development supports in place to help people move forward with their ideas.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say if you have an idea, embrace it and make it happen.
Now, and there's a multitude of resources that you have at your disposal to help them along the way. And some of them are free,
Yeah,
right?
we try to offer almost everything for free at our level. The other thing we're really good at is making connections at other levels of government or supports that are available to businesses.
And that's something else that has really exploded through the pandemic is the level of support for entrepreneurs at every level, municipal, provincial, national, and private foundations, and also nonprofits like Innovation Island. And
Yes. There's lots of supports available. One program that we created through the pandemic and will continue to offer is actually the support of a grant writer. So one thing we did realize was that other levels of government were able to offer funds, and businesses it was a bit daunting to apply for.
Yes.
So we have a grant writer program. We offer free grant writing for up to 5 hours, which is the typical length of an application. So if you want to apply for a grant and you're afraid to do it yourself, come and see us.
Okay, that is fantastic. Rose, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
You've been watching Insights in Business. I'm Mary Ruth Snyder, coming to you from the Rob Ron Road studios of Shaw Spotlight. Please join us again.